everybody, viewers, newcomers. This is not going to be a particularly serious video. I'm just kind of relaxing, taking the political compass test, and I decided, you know what? How about I film myself doing it this time? I don't take the political compass test all that seriously. I prefer the isidewith.com quiz a lot more than this one because it's a lot more thorough. But the thing is you have to have an account with the isidewith.com quiz, and I already took the test on there, and it already has all my stuff logged, so if I were to log into it, I could just show you everything that I did, but that's not as fun. So let me take the test. Thomas Hobbes being in the authoritarian right? Okay. I'm going to take the test. Yeah. Question the logic of that you're teaching. Blah, 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 blah. So basically just, what would your first assumption be? I've already taken this multiple times and I got different results. If economic globalization is inevitable, it should primarily serve humanity rather than serve the interests of transnational corporations. I would say agree slightly because I'm under the I'm under the impression that this is trying to convince you to be a socialist or a communist by saying, like, okay, let's have redistributionist policies, which I don't really support. But on the other hand, I do think that if there is going to be globalization, it should be serving humanity rather than just a few people. So I'm going to say a soft agree because I'm not sure if I really understand what it's asking. I'd always support my country whether it was right or wrong. Well, I live in my country, and generally I would support my country almost no matter what, and there's not much of a better alternative. The way I see it, the United States is the only country I feel comfortable living in, and I suppose if it were to really go further to the left and we had gun rights in another country, then maybe. I'm going to do a soft agree because there's not really a neutral, because I'm not sure I really understand what it's asking. No one chooses their country of birth, so it's foolish to be proud of it. I mean, if you were born in, say, North Korea or New Zealand, then I would say strongly agree. I'm just going to go with a soft agree because I'm not sure I really understand. Our race has many superior qualities compared with other races. Strongly disagree. I mean, I'm not a race realist or anything like that, and the white race doesn't have that many advantages compared to other races, so yeah. Enemy of my enemy is my friend. I'm going to go with a soft disagree because that's not necessarily the case. Sometimes your enemies are also your enemies. The enemies of your enemies are also your enemies, and you just want them both to get screwed over. Military action that defies international law is sometimes justified. Strongly agree. Killing Soleimani was worth it. There's now a worrying fusion of information and entertainment. I'm going to go with a soft agree because John Oliver, I think, misleads a lot of people. There's a lot of bad crap coming out of Follywood, and that's not a good thing. Do I strongly agree or agree? I'm going to go with strongly agree. Now the economy, we're talking attitudes here, not the FTSE index. Okay. People divided more by class than by nationality. I'm thinking about that one. People were ultimate, because here's the thing. Like, if I'm in the same socioeconomic class as somebody in, say, New Zealand, but they don't agree with my position on gun rights, and somebody who lives in New Zealand who's in a higher socioeconomic status than I am, because, like, if I have the same politics as someone of a higher socioeconomic status in a different country, then the nationality is going to come before class, so I'm going to go with a soft disagree because I don't believe in that 100%. Controlling inflation is more important than controlling unemployment. Strongly agree. You know why? We could have 100% in employment in this country right now. You know how you do that? You do it with slavery. Because here's the thing. There are people that are making passive income. They don't want to be employed. There are some people that work for themselves. They're not considered to be employed. Like, there's ways of making money where that's not tied to where you live or tied to having an employer master lording over you. I mean, I guess everybody's subservient to somebody. Like, if you're getting your money through the internet and then PayPal or whatever money provider, money lender you got, they're in control. It's kind of complicated, but I can go into detail if you're interested. Ask in the comment section below if you want me to go into specifics. Sorry, had an acid reflux. Because corporations cannot be trusted to voluntarily protect the environment, they require regulation. Strongly agree. I can't tell you how often we've had cases where companies that had like liquid waste or chemicals that they were trying to dispose of, they had their trucks going out in the street and just like discreetly spreading the chemicals everywhere instead of finding a decent way of disposing them. When BP had their oil spill out in the Gulf of Mexico, they tried doing a cover-up of it, and they did a really bad job of dealing with it. Granted, the Obama administration flubbed it up, but yeah, they need regulation. Not to say that our regulation of corporations has always worked, but still. From each according to his ability to each according to his need is a fundamentally good idea. I'm going to go with a soft disagree because I know that this came from Karl Marx, and it's about redistributionism. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, but it's bad. I don't want redistributionism. The freer the market, the freer the people. I'm going to go with a soft degree because I'm not a laissez-faire capitalist. It's a sad reflection on our society that something as basic as drinking water is now a bottled, branded consumer product. Here's the thing. Companies just kicking out and using eminent domain on people's property, stealing their water from springs underground, and then trying to sell it back to them for money is utterly disgusting. On the other hand, if the people that live there bottled up their own water out of the spring and then sold it, then I wouldn't have a problem with that. Then again, I'm not in favor of bottled water with plastic bottles, because if you leave that out in the heat, it's the chemicals inside of the bottle, which are made of oil, are going to seep into the water and contaminate it, which cause a whole host of reproductive problems. So this is a complicated one. I know people are going to... I know if Vosh ever watches this, he's going to make fun of me, but I don't really care. So is that a sad reflection of our society? I'm going to go with a soft agree because, yeah. This is complicated. It's complicated. Yeah, I'll go with a soft agree. Land shouldn't be commodity to be bought and sold. I'm going to go with a soft disagree because I actually do believe in land ownership. I do think that you can go too far because in New Jersey, you can have developers that just constantly buy and develop land to the point where people aren't getting enough water. Water's an issue. They overdevelop stuff, and so that's how that can be taken too far. But I don't believe this in the other extreme where everybody should get a certain plot of land and that's it. Like in a hyper-equalist society. So, yeah, I'm just going to go with a soft disagree. It is regrettable that many personal fortunes are made by people who simply manipulate money and contribute nothing to their society. I'm going to go with a soft agree. You know what? I'm going to go with a soft disagree. Because what happened a couple months ago was you had hedge funds betting over GameStop stock. The problem wasn't that they were betting over GameStop stock, it's that Robinhood and Google were trying to prevent ordinary people from participating. If ordinary people can participate, if your average Joes can participate, it's not a big deal. But when you only let wealthy hedge funds participate, that's what I have a problem with. So I'm going to go with a soft disagree. Protectionism is sometimes necessary in trade. Strongly agree we should not be buying anything from China. Here's the thing that annoys me is when people on the left will decry genetically modified food, saying that it's worth spending the extra money on organic food, which I kind of agree with that it is. And then in another breath, they'll say that it's cheaper to buy things from China, so don't make anything here. First of all, products that come from China are crap. We should stop buying anything from there, not only for that reason, but because we don't need to be supporting a country whose government that is essentially our enemy. The only social responsibility of a company should be to develop a profit to its shareholders. I'm going to go with a soft disagree because they do have they do kind of have a responsibility to deliver a profit to their shareholders. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go with strongly disagree because, I hate the stock market. Screw shareholders. I don't like them. The rich are too highly taxed. I'm going to... I don't know enough about this to have an opinion on it, so I'm gonna go with a soft disagree. They don't have a neutral, unsure option, which I think is stupid. Those with the highest standards of medical care, I'm gonna go with a soft agree, because I think that if you legitimately made more money or you legitimately handled your money well, then yeah, you deserve better care. Of course, if you were born into that money or if you got that money through unscrupulous means, then no. Honestly, I think that we need to have I think we should have socialized medicine. Or at least a public option system like what Biden's talking about. So it's kind of hard for me to really have a strong opinion. Governments that should penalize businesses that mislead the public, strongly agree. A genuine free market. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go with a soft agree because if we're talking about political opinions and misinformation, that can really go haywire. Because lately we've been having issues where on social media sites they're banning people that have certain opinions. Now, granted, that's not government intervention. That is companies with an agenda, like Silicon Valley. That's not government intervention, although when the government tells these companies, you need to start saying this, you need to start banning people who say this or that, and the other thing, yeah. A genuine free market requires restrictions on the ability of predator multinationals to create monopolies. I'm going to say yes. Personal social values. This will be a lot easier because this is where I tend to have stronger opinions because I'm not very well versed on economics. I'm better on social values because it takes less brain power. Abortion, when a woman's life is not threatened, should always be illegal. Strongly disagree. Because here's the thing. If you're an MRA, then it makes no sense to agree. All authority should be questioned. I'm going to go with a soft disagree. I think some authority is necessary. I don't know. I'm not 100. I think we need to have a certain amount of loyalty to authority, but within reason. An eye for an eye and a tooth for tooth. I'm not sure I understand what it's saying. I'm going to go with a soft agree. Taxpayers should not be expected to propagate any figures or music. Could strongly agree. A lot of people were bitching and whining that Trump withdrew funding for certain services, and my response is they should have been merchandising from the beginning. We should never have been putting taxpayer money into that. Schools should not make classroom attendance compulsory. I'm going to go with a soft agree. If people come out of school, there's... Actually, you know what? I'm going to go with a strong agree. I don't know. This one doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Personally, I'm not a fan of public schooling. I believe in homeschooling. I'm confused by this one. I'm not going to talk too much about it. All people have their rights, but it's better for all of us that different sorts of people should keep to their own kind. I'm going to go with agree, because if it's talking about race, then I would go to strongly disagree. But if we're talking about people with certain values, then I would agree. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I'm not sure I understand what it's saying. I'm going to go with a soft agree because I don't know what it's saying. Good parents sometimes have to spank their children. Strongly agree. It is natural for children to keep some secrets from their parents. Strongly agree. Possessing marijuana for personal use should not be a criminal offense. Strongly agree. The prime function of schooling should be to equip the future generation to find jobs. Strongly agree. People with serious inheritable disabilities should not be allowed to reproduce. Strongly agree. The most important thing for children is to learn to accept discipline. I'm going to go with a soft agree because that's not the most important thing. Having good values is the thing that they should learn the most, and how to get a job. There's no savage and civilized people. There's only different cultures. I want to go with strongly disagree because, like, you're not convincing me that North Korea is not a savage or uncivilized culture. It's savage and uncivilized. Those who are able to work and refuse the opportunity should not expect society's support. I'm going to go with strongly agree. When you're troubled, it's better not to think about it, but to keep busy with more cheerful things. I'm going to go with strongly disagree because you need to deal with your problems. First-generation immigrants can never be fully integrated within their new country. I'm going to go with soft disagree because there are some people that were immigrants to this country who you couldn't even tell unless you could just look at their race to see whether or not they came from here. I mean, actually, no, not necessarily that. I mean, I know that Bobby Jindal is the son of immigrants, but he speaks perfect English. Like, if he was white, you would not be able to tell that he had any ancestry outside of. That sounds a little racist, actually. The point I'm trying to make is I don't agree with this. What's good for the most successful corporations is always ultimately good for all of us. I'm going to go with disagree because sometimes that is the case, but not necessarily. No broadcasting institution, however independent its content, should receive public funding. Strongly agree. I'm not in favor of public broadcasting institutions. Our civil liberties are being excessively curbed in the name of counterterrorism. I'm going to go with a soft disagree. A significant advantage of a one-party state is that it avoids all the arguments and delay process in a democratic political system. Am I a Nazbol or a neo-Nazi or a fascist of other type? I'm not sure. I'm going to go with strongly disagree because even in East Germany and other countries of a similar stripe, that's not necessarily the case. Although the electronic age makes official surveillance easier, only wrongdoers need to be worried. Strongly agree. If you don't like surveillance, it's probably because you're doing something wrong. The death penalty should be an option for the most serious crimes. Strongly agree. If we have really bad criminals, just execute them. Like there's no reason why we should be paying taxpayer money to keep somebody alive if we know for 100% fact, if there is 100% undeniable proof that they did something wrong. Granted, the way we execute people is we sometimes execute people and it's a wrongful conviction. But that's not a problem with the death penalty. That's a problem with how we sentence, who's sentencing, bias or corruption in the court system, etc. Stuff like that. In a civilized society, one must always have people above to be obeyed and people below to be commanded. I'm going to go with agree. There's always going to be a hierarchy of some sort. Anarchy is a transitory state and can never last because someone's always going to fill the vacuum. So this is not something I necessarily agree with. It's just the truth. Abstract art that doesn't represent anything shouldn't be considered art at all. I would say soft agree. Hey, but here's the thing. If, like, there are people that take a canvas, just take paint, just paint the whole thing red or some singular color, or just leave it blank, and they sell that for thousands of dollars. Here I'm working my 9-to-5 job. I'm thinking, like, what am I doing? I should go back to being an artist because I was into art when I was in elementary school and middle school, but I actually drew stuff that was worth looking at instead of just taking a blank canvas and giving it a palette swap. But hey, if I can make a lot of money that way, go to some SJWs and tell them, "Oh yeah, see, this means blah 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 blah," and actually get some sucker to buy that and make a ton of money. You know what? Maybe I'll start doing that. In criminal justice, punishments should be more important than rehabilitation. I'm going to say disagree. Punishment is worth doing to certain people, but in order to, like, someone who is full of themselves, who commits serious crime, someone who is really far up their own asses, then yeah, punishment's worth doing to them. But if someone doesn't understand what they're doing is wrong, then that's where you need rehabilitation. So yeah, it is a waste of time to try to rehabilitate some criminals. I'm going to say strongly agree. There are some people you cannot rehabilitate. Ted Bundy, Ed Gein, John Wayne Gacy, Eileen Wuornos, Amber Heard. Do I really need to say more? I don't think so. The business person and the manufacturer are more important than the writer and the artist. I'm going to go with a soft disagree. They're all important. They all have different functions in society. Mothers may have careers, but the first duty is to be homemakers. I'm going to go with strongly disagree. I don't believe in sex roles. Multinational companies are unethically exploiting the plant genetic resources of developing countries. I'm going to go with agree, because that does happen, unfortunately. Making peace with the establishment is an important aspect of maturity. Not necessarily. Because sometimes the establishment is straight up wrong and it needs to be uprooted. But, you know, when the establishment is on the right page, then it's not necessarily a bad thing to make peace with them. Astrology accurately explains many things. I personally disagree with that. It's not always wrong, but that's more of a stop clock moment rather than astrology being accurate about something. You can't be moral without being religious. I'm going to say disagree. If there was a religion out there that was moral, then I would eat my words if I said strongly disagree, but I don't think Christianity or Judaism or Islam is necessarily that these are moral religions, because there's plenty of immorality in them. And morality is subjective, so yeah. Sorry, I'm drinking something. Charity is better than Social Security as a means of helping the genuinely disadvantaged. I'm going to go with a soft disagree, because charity does do a lot of good, but you got to be careful because there are phony charities out there, and we still need Social Security. I want Social Security, I should say. Some people are naturally unlucky. Strongly agree. It's important my child's school instills religious values. What religion are we talking about? I'm going to go with the soft disagree, because I'm not sure I understand what it's asking me. Oh, finally a look at sex. This is the last one. Sex outside of marriage is usually immoral. I don't care. Same-sex couple in a stable, loving relationship should not be excluded. Possibility of child adoption. I really don't know. I'm going to say agree, soft agree, because I don't know what the dynamic would be if a same-sex couple being parents. I don't know. I mean, I guess it could work out. Yeah, sure. You know what? I'm going to go with a soft agree, because I don't know enough about the subject to have a strong opinion on it. Porn depicting consenting adults should be legal for the adult population. Strongly agree. I'm not convinced with all this stupid moral judgment BS. What goes on in private bedroom between consenters is no business. Strongly agree. Nobody can feel naturally homosexual. Strongly disagree. These days, openness about sex has gone too far. If you take a look at Los Angeles and San Francisco, yes. But personally, I think that this is about, something darker. Like the Christian Blight's opinions. So we all know what all this says. Let's take a look at where they put me. Really? This is a weird test, because it put me in the libertarian left. You see, in the isidewith.com quiz, it would put me over here. But this political compass test... Now, granted, this is from a British perspective, because they're using pounds and I believe that this test was made by British people. But yeah, it put me in the libertarian left. Well, there we go. We killed some time by doing this stupid test. There's better political compass tests out there. I recommend to you do the isidewith.com quiz, not this one. Although this one's free and you don't have to sign up on the website or anything, so there you go. Here's my test. I'm in the libertarian left, but very, very close to the center.